Hello, how's it going? It is Monday today. I got myself a little bowl of right now you are looking at Photoshop. I have all these little tools here that I am honestly not super good at using, so I do apologize for that, although I have no idea why you guys would care if I'm good at it or not. I'm surprised when I hit this duplicate key that this isn't duplicating. You guys are here for a ride. This is not how I thought things would be going. Ceilings by Lizzie McAlpine, baby girl. That's right. This was my number one song according to Spotify. I would agree. S tier. This was my number one song of this year. You guys have heard me talk about it, so I'll keep it brief. She's talking about a relationship, talking about how great it is, how she doesn't want to ruin the moment. It's the little nuances of a relationship that can really sell it sometimes. And then at the end, she's like, yeah, but this isn't real. This is just what I want. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I feel that. I will say I am in no position for a relationship right now, and I'm very aware of that. But that doesn't make the song not freaking amazing. I love it. S tier. Number 2 for this year, according to Spotify, and that is Your Love by Mallrat. Now, the song structure of this is a little bit interesting. It is really repetitive. She's just like, your love. She says the word your love a ton of freaking times. And then the second half is a rapper who I believe is her boyfriend who says one line, and then that one line is looped for the second half of the entire song with different pitches applied to it. You would think it would be kind of boring, but I find it really engaging and awesome, and I love it, and I love the mood of it. Great song. It's all vibes. The words themselves don't tell you a whole lot. I would agree that this was probably my number 2 song for this year. I started listening to this song, and this is where I wanted to make this video too, just so I could eventually look back on this. And Nathan, in the future, I'm sorry. I know when I talk, I get like spit in my mouth and it causes a lisp. It's not the greatest thing in the world. Also, my hair. Yikes. Anyway, why I wanted to make this list too is because this song has significance to me, as well as some other ones. And that's because when I was dating Megan, which we broke up February of this year, February 1st, I think, too, or maybe it was late February, I don't remember. Anyway, I would find some love songs or songs that I liked, and I would apply them to my relationship on some level, and I had a playlist of those. I called them love songs. That playlist has been since converted to future love songs, and all the songs in that playlist have been replaced. This song is still in that playlist. I found this song probably about a week before we broke up, which at that point I was not aware that we would be breaking up. And then I continued to like it throughout the breakup process and after. So this is one of the only songs I have that I applied to somebody and then also did not apply to somebody throughout the duration of me liking the song, which I thought is kind of a weird situation. It's a bop. It's really good. Super long explanation there. All that to say, I like the song. It's super vibey. I hesitate to say it's S tier. I'm not going to lie, but it is a strong A. Big fan of that song. Big fan. Apologize. Jeez. Number 3, according to Spotify. Let's bring that sucker over. Stretch it out. Pine Barrens by Jakey. I love Jakey's music, man. His album Rom-Com is fantastic, and he even has a revamped version of this song on Rom-Com. Rom-Com has 10 songs in it. If I was to rank my favorite Nakey Jakey songs in a list, this song would be number 9. So it's not my favorite Jakey song by a lot, but this was the most recent one that he happened to come out with. I like the song. It's a good song, but he even in the album made like a newer version of the song that I like better. So it's like this song is kind of irrelevant for me now, but I really like it. It's just not one that particularly means a ton to me, and what it did mean to me has since been put aside and applied to other songs by the same artist. So I gotta say that's a low B tier song for me. As much as I hate to say it, Jakey, if you're watching this, I want to take photos of you one day. Don't know why you'd be watching this. This is unlisted from my friends, but okay. Number 4, I do want to take photos of you one day. You know what? In fact, this is my to-do list app. If you go under goals someday, under work, I have take photos of daughter, which is my favorite band, and take photos of Jakey, and then in parentheses, Nakey Jakey, just in case I die and people are looking at this list. I wanted to specify it was Nakey Jakey in case they didn't know who Jakey was. Hey man, don't ask me why I was thinking that way. Don't know how you would have access to this, but it happened. I don't even know. Whatever. But yes, that's on a to-do list thing I have. I'm hoping to get this done by the time I'm 35, I think was my goal I set in my head. Oh no, 32. 10 years from now, December 7th, 2032. This one's probably about the same. I should give it a date. Anyway. What was I doing? I'm sorry, guys. I'm so, distracted. Okay, Time Comes in Roses. This was number 4, according to Spotify. I love this song. I believe Josh told me, oh, is that the depressing song or something like that? So we're not friends anymore because this is a really good song, not a depressing song. This is S tier. We are friends, Josh. Don't worry. If you don't know who Igor, if I'm saying that, Igor, I don't know how to say his name, right? He is one of the members of Daughter. He plays bass, I believe. And he actually dated Elena, who's the lead singer of Daughter, for a couple years, I believe. And they broke up, but still remained in the band together, which I think is kind of cool. But yeah, he's very talented. This song, the original's good, but the remix is freaking amazing. If you haven't heard the song, I recommend it. Ceilings is a high S tier, so I would have to say this is like a medium S tier, which is still a really good score, by the way. A is like best song you're gonna get. S tier just means it is well beyond best song you're gonna get. These are probably the only 2 I listened to this year I'd put in S tier. Okay, number 5, Honest, Tessa Violet. So this is an interesting one. Tessa Violet, I always viewed as an artist that... Let me just take a bite from this. She's got the song Crush, which came out, I think, in 2018 or something like that. And it's kind of like a poppy little harmless song. So I kind of wrote her off as just being that. Someone that makes these poppy little whatever songs. And this year, I really started changing my perspective on a lot of that. I knew artists weren't just what their most popular songs were, but when all I knew were the most popular songs from certain artists, I didn't know what else to judge them by. So Tessa Violet's got a lot more substance than I realized. The Neighborhood, if you look at their first album, it's pretty poppy. Couple of the hits, and then the second album is just like, okay, wait, what the frick is this? It is wildly different, and then it's just they have so many more deeper cuts. It just happens to be that they're more easy to listen to songs become more popular, which makes sense. But anyway, all that to say, Honest, good song. At the very beginning of this year, late last year, I was listening to it a lot. And I really enjoyed it, but I will say it's a song that to me is a very good medium song. Like it's a really, it's a really high C or a low B to me, but I happened to listen to it a lot and it happened to not get old. And because of that, it slowly kept on climbing in the rankings. I like it. I can't say I'm like super crazy about it though. It was more like for a certain time period of my life. So I'd have to put it like middle of B for me. I don't think I will ever truly appreciate this song as much as I did during the time period I was listening to it. And that's kind of similar with this song right here. And that's what's so interesting, by the way, I think, about my songs of this year. None of them are particularly, or I, like in the past years, I had like one artist that was by far, I knew at the end of the year, they were definitely going to be up there. Like AG Club, I think in 2020, I went crazy for them. Daughter every year, I knew would be number one on the list. This past year, it's really been a mix of songs. And I will say I'm happy overall with my list because it's got a lot of the slower songs and then more of the bops that I've really enjoyed. But there was not any dominating by any one group. And even Daughter, I believe, only had 2 or 3 songs in my top 100. Anyway, just kind of interesting to me. So right here we got number 6. We're moving on to the next one. Roll the Windows Up by Machine Gun Kelly. This is pure bop. It's enjoyable. Machine Gun Kelly is an enigma, I feel like. He is talented. He works very hard. And also makes some really freaking stupid decisions. I think his voice sounds great, but sometimes I listen to some of his songs, especially his more recent pop punk songs, and they're embarrassingly childlike, just how poor the writing is. It's like, I don't know if he's trying to appeal to a broader audience, a younger audience. I'm sure on some level it's both, but I also know he himself is kind of going through an emo phase. It's just, I don't really understand. It's kind of like when you look at, to me, an artist, where is he? Youngblood. Let's look at Youngblood real quick. So this is Youngblood, right? He dated Halsey a little while ago when they made the song 11 Minutes. That's kind of how I became familiar, and a lot of other people became familiar with him. He came out with this album recently, Youngblood, self-titled. And he talked about how it was all these things that he always wanted to say. Let's just look at one of them. Let's click on Cruel Kids. I don't even know what this song is. Let's look at the lyrics. Okay, I really shouldn't just randomly click on a song and say, let's look at the lyrics and try to make fun of them. Let me take a couple of steps back. When this album first came out, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't understand. And it's the same thing with Machine Gun Kelly. This guy's like 25, 26 years old, right? And he's like, these are all the really deep, passionate things I never got to say. And then what he lyrically says is like a 12-year-old, 14-year-old, to be more realistic, would write down on their angsty art book during class. In my opinion, if you want to see somebody who's mature, that's like going through it, and I'm sure this is pretty generic to say, but someone like Kendrick Lamar I've been getting into recently. His song Rich Spirit, I really enjoy. He's older. He's more mature. He's in his mid-30s, and he writes songs like he's in his mid-30s. What I don't understand about people like Youngblood and Machine Gun Kelly is they say this is stuff from their heart, but they write it as if they're a kid. And I don't get how it can be from your heart and also not really be relevant to people your age. Maybe I'm just being judgmental or something in this. It's a weird feeling for me and I don't get it. Let's bring that all the way back to this song. Roll the Windows Up is a different title, I believe, for legal reasons, as the original title to this song was Smoke and Drive, and it came out in 2020 during lockdown. Like many artists, Machine Gun Kelly made a few songs that he posted only to his YouTube channel that were really heartfelt. It really seemed like it was coming from a genuine place. And this was one of the only bops out of those 4 or 5 songs that he released. And it went freaking hard. It was awesome. And it used a sample from Mike Posner. He's the guy that did the album, I think 21 Minutes to Take Off. He did the song Cooler Than Me. That's what it is. That's what he's known for. And he also did the song I Took a Pill in Ibiza, which popped off and kind of gave him like a second life to his career a little bit. One of his earlier songs is sampled really hard in this song right here. And it got over 100 million streams on YouTube. So right before he came out with his album Mainstream Sellout, which was called Born with Horns before he changed the name, he released an EP of either some or all of the songs that he released on his YouTube channel during quarantine. And I was really bummed by that because, in my opinion, these are some of his best works. It doesn't seem like he's trying to impress anybody. It only came out on his YouTube channel, it seems, from an outsider's perspective, because he wasn't making music for popping off. And he even had to change the song title because he didn't even license the song properly for the label. I believe. Don't quote me on that last part. Or I guess you can. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, I like this song. It seems like it's coming from a genuine place. I wish more of his songs felt like they were coming from a genuine place. I've talked about it enough. At the end of the day, this is an A-tier song for me. I enjoy it. Not a ton of substance, but it's a genuine feeling song, and it's a bop. I enjoy it. That was number 6 on my Spotify, and I think it probably deserves that spot. Okay. Holy frick, I get so sidetracked. I'm sure you guys don't really mind, but... Hot Demon Girlies Near You by Corpse and Night Loavel. I'm surprised this was number 7. I remember going to the gym and being like, yeah, this song's a bop. And dude, the girl on the cover, let's go to Corpse freaking knows how to choose his covers. That's like the hottest freaking thing ever. Are you kidding me? The white eyeliner, dude, white eyeliner goes so hard, and seeing that in this setting even harder. It's awesome. I love it. It's a bop. I don't know why I listened to it as much as I did to get it to number 7. I know Ceilings I listened to, I think, 110 times. And I only found this on the second or third quarter of 2022. I think I found it in October. Maybe it was before October. It's probably closer to August. I don't think so. I think it was after August. Anyway, this song's been out for longer than that. And I found it, I think, earlier this year. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's a bop, but it's like not a whole lot of substance. So please understand, I am raking these very harshly. I'm going to put this in a 75% of the way through C tier. This is a good song. To be a bad song on this list, you need to be like low E to F tier. And F doesn't even mean fail. Like, I feel like I should extend this whole tree by like twice the length it is. These are all great songs, so just know it's a little skewed. It's not an even progression. It goes. I don't even know how to. This is becoming soup at this point. All right. Number 8, according to Spotify. Lonely Machines, 30H, exclamation mark 3, and 100 gecs. If you're not familiar with these two groups, that is unfortunate. This song is a bit of a passing on of the torch. Let me tell you about them a little bit. 30H30, which I've always called them until now I realized I was wrong. How are you supposed to say that name? They are a punk-ish band around the 2000s. They came out with the song Don't Trust Me, which was really popular. And it's like, don't trust a hoe, never trust a hoe, don't trust cause I know the hoe won't trust me, or something like that. I did not say that right! Ah! But, good song. Anyway, holy crap, I gotta stop getting sidetracked. It's like 9 o'clock now, so I gotta get to work soon. Okay. So they were like a punk band back in the day that were experimenting with sounds that people weren't really using. 100 gecs takes hyperpop to the extreme. So 30H exclamation mark 3 was like the punk band of the 2000s. 100 gecs is like the more obscure punk band of these days. And I say more obscure because they're not like mainstream, but they are well known. So they fill a similar spot. And they linked up to make this song. And it really was like a passing of the torch from the older generation to the newer generation. And it goes freaking hard. This song is a strong A. And I hesitate. I want to put this one I won't put that one here because it's a good song too. But Lonely Machines, man, that song goes hard. I love it. I recommend it. Let's go on to number 9 according to Spotify. We've got Pink Party by Isaac Dunbar. I've played this for you guys. You guys have not liked it. That's okay. It's okay to have bad taste. This song's great. Isaac Dunbar is very talented. He's been described as like the young male lord a little bit, but I don't think that's particularly accurate. Everybody's different in their music tastes, of course, and styles, but he writes a little mature for his age, and I believe he's 19 and he's come out with like 4 albums, so he's got a lot of material. This song's a bop. I like it. It's really enjoyable. Not too much to say about it. I hope you guys give Isaac Dunbar a listen. He's got quite a few songs that are very enjoyable. I'm putting that as a strong A. Number 10, according to Spotify, is Phantom or Phantom. Oh, frick. Called that Phantom this whole time. Pretty sure you say that word Phantom. I think it's a weird sound. Phantom Regret by Jim. I think you guys are familiar with the song. If you're not, this was from Dawn FM. I believe it was the first song in the album. This is also one of the only songs I liked from the album at this time. It's one of those albums you kind of come back to and you say like, oh shoot, I actually like that song a lot more. And this is a spoken word piece, which is strange because I don't normally like how would that be? Oh wait. Oh, this is my 10. It's number 70 on the list. Okay. We're going a bit out of order here. So this was number 70, not number 10 on my list for this year. But for me, I would put it in my top 10 because it's... How do I... It's a vibe. Jim, who is the guy that played one of the main characters in Dumb and Dumber, as well as The Grinch and a few other movies, he believes in the idea of you've got to be heaven to see heaven. That's directly from this song, kind of that heaven is here on earth if you like try to be it, kind of deal. The dude's been through freaking hell. He's been through a lot, and just kind of hearing him over this beat by The Weeknd is it's almost like a somewhat spiritual, I don't want to say experience because that's not true. It's a really strong vibe, and it's clearly strong enough that it was the only spoken word piece that I have listened to really ever on repeat besides for like once. And it got to number 70 of this year. So I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. I think you should listen to it. I'm going to put it right here. It's just interesting and enjoyable and special. Kind of like hot. Number 10, according to Spotify. Oh my. Okay, you know what? We're gonna stretch that back out a little bit. There we go. Yeah. Come On, Let's Go with Nigo. Let me be careful here. You know what? We're not even gonna try again. Tyler, the creator, and this dude, who I think made like the Bored Ape NFTs. He's like a fashion designer that's producing these albums. I don't know why this is number 10. This is just Tyler, the creator, the entire time saying that he's in love with this girl, but she takes a really long time to get ready, and it's kind of annoying him. That's the whole premise of this song. I think I listened to this for like a month, and one time I went outside to take photos because I learned how to take photos this year. Woo! I actually made a lot of progress, which is kind of cool. But in fact, you know what? This is kind of irrelevant, but this year I took my first photograph. And that's not technically correct, but I had zero interest in ever taking photos until I got my camera in mid to late January of this year. And I wasn't interested in taking photos at the time. I wanted to just work on video stuff, but I was like, oh, you know what? Let me like try to take photos because it's going to help me learn composition, and it's a more quicker from start to finish of the entire project than video. And it ended up becoming something I'm really passionate about, and I want to show you. This is the most recent grouping of photos. I finished editing these yesterday or the day before. This is my favorite photo I have taken this year. Right here. I went from taking no photos, none, to taking this. How freaking awesome is that? From not taking photos to taking this photo. I think that's pretty sick. And then we got a few other ones here I want to show you. I like experimenting with cropped perspectives a little bit. I think everything looking proper is boring. So this one is a little edgy. Not a huge fan of it, but I made it anyway. Okay, maybe this is a bad collection to show because, to clarify, I do not like all these photos that much because they are not the style I would shoot in. To clarify, this is a character. This person does not act like this in real life. If I had to describe the way I like photos, I would say I like to have a person have a certain feeling or vibe in mind, and then we use posing to frame who they are. This here is posing to show a character. Those are two different things. And a lot of the time when people, I've noticed personally in my limited experience, pose, they become what they want to be or become something they want to express. I am much more drawn to the idea of let's explore you, not a character, not what you want to be, not your best look. You with all your flaws and good, but I like to focus on flaws because I find them more interesting. And then will you use the art of posing strictly to frame you? And I try to word it a little bit more beautiful than that, but that's why these photos are a little bit harder for me, because they're a character. Which is why I like photos like this. Because this photo, I was not supposed to take. I take photos when they don't think I'm taking photos. It's like, not really, not like that at all. Whoa, that actually sounds bad now that I think about it. Let me clarify. I take photos even if posing isn't actually happening at the moment. Because then I'll capture things like this, where it's just like a more standard board expression. But I think it's kind of cool. And there's little details here too. Like you can see the top of the paper here that's ripping. And if you look down here, you can see like little marks on the ground from the boots. And you can see a little bit of wear in the knees. Actually, you know what? Can you see the wear in the knees? I guess not very clearly, but right here, there's like a little tear in the fabric. You really can't notice it, but I guess I notice it. You can see it easier in some of the other photos. I'm getting sidetracked. Just wanted to let you guys know this one right here is my favorite photo. And then some of my other favorite photos, I like working with desaturated colors, but before I edit my desaturated photos, I edit them in color, because often I notice people like them in color, so then I give them color, desaturated, and black and white. And here's the color version of that last photo that you saw. And I'm a huge fan of this. I think this looks fantastic. Just the black and white hits different for me. But this is probably one of my favorite photos from this year as well. And then this is the more slightly desaturated. Sometimes when I desaturate things, I like to keep the skin tone intact. So I won't desaturate reds. In fact, I'm not going to pull it up, but if you look at my Lightroom preset I created that I use as a base for a lot of my desaturating, almost all the colors are dragged down, except for like oranges are only brought down to half, reds are barely brought down, and that's also not only because I wanted to keep the skin tone intact, but lips. I think lips are a great focal point of photos. Because oftentimes I will chop off the eyes and just focus on the lips, or I'll just focus on the eyes. But just focusing on the eyes, you won't notice other things in the image, in my opinion. So what I like to do is just focus on the lips, because while the lips are a focus, they're not as strong as a draw as just looking at the eyes. Like in this photo, it feels wrong to almost look anywhere else, because you know those eyes are looking at you. Here, I know the focal point is the lips, but if I want to look at the necklace, I don't feel like I'm being watched. I don't know if that makes sense, but I have a funky philosophy a little bit where I truly believe deep down that photos have a soul. Not that they're going to heaven or hell. I don't believe that. But there is a certain amount of life to every photograph. And that usually should be respected. That's why things like texture on the face I'm very cautious about, because if a photo does not call for that texture to be removed, I feel it would be wrong and I would be breaking these imaginary rules of the photo to change that. It's kind of weird. It's like I make these false relationships with my photos, but I always act this way. Even when I would edit videos, I would try to keep the vibe cohesive, and it felt wrong to just like break that. Anyway. Why am I talking about photos? This song, it's good. It's not like amazing though. It's like D tier. It's a good song. I don't know why I played it as much as I did. Let me see. People were texting me. Let me see. Okay. My brother asked me if I wanted it. He's like, you know what? Now that I think about it, you should join the army too, or like the reserves. And I was like, I'm good, thank you though. And he's like, oh no, I was joking. I was like, I got you. This is such a weird recording. How long have I been doing this for? 38 minutes! I'm sorry, you poor guys. I hope you're doing something else right now. I am not making this super engaging. So, those are the top 10, besides for Phantom Regret by Jim. These are the top 10 that Spotify said I listen to. I wish it'd give me like a number for each, so it would actually be kind of cool. But anyway, yeah, top 10. But now, out of the top 101 songs it gave me, I went through what, in my opinion, were my personal top 10 songs of this year. And what I found very interesting is I wasn't super passionate about any of them. So, I mean, I liked them, but it wasn't like a insane, I love these songs. So, the clear number one for me, before I add any from the side here, was Ceilings by Lizzie McAlpine. That song was number one according to Spotify, and to me, by far number one. It was fantastic. If I had to add another one to that list, I would say Time Comes and Roses. That would be my clear number 2 song for this year. Those 2 songs meant a lot to me, were super freaking awesome. I loved them. Great songs. Now, beyond those 2, if I had to make a list of my top 10 songs this year, the third song I would put on it would be The End by Daughter. This is a song that when I initially fell in love with Daughter's music, I was not interested in. And I went back probably late last year and mid last year, and I found this song and I loved it. It was so good. A lot of the time I say, I say, what is the question that I should be asking? I don't know what the answer is, but what is the question? And a good deal amount of the time, if I'm working with somebody for photos or something, they will come up with an answer. They will say, well, what I haven't said is, and then they'll say something. Or even if not, I think it's a good question just to ask in general. And this is a song that goes out throughout its length. It becomes more and more, it's like car radio, I'll put it that way. It's not the average up and down. It has a little up and down, and then it just builds until it ends. Let me see. I love this part. This is part of the build up. They say there's something in my house that I should get out. I don't want to be escaping. I'm too busy moping around. I love that, because that is how I thankfully, due to medication and just therapy, it's happening less, but I feel like this all the time where I'm told, hey, there's this thing you need to do. Like, for example, with my unhealthy relationship with work a little bit, it's, you got to be working. No matter what you're doing all the time, due to my age, I should be working. This is the time to do it. But I struggle to say, it's like, I can't even get out of bed right now. How am I supposed to do that? Like, I want to die. Why should I be running away from something that I would have to feel good enough to actually get up to even be worried about? It's like, not a great example, but I'll give this example anyway. It's like being told, hey, we're going to go camping next week, and there are bears there, so make sure you bring bear spray, because we do not want to be hit by those bears. And me, somebody that hates camping and has no intention of going, is like, why are you even telling me that? Like, right now, I have zero interest in going. Maybe I will do it, but I don't want to. So why are you telling me that? I have my own stuff to worry about right now. And this, I feel like, just has so much feeling in it. It's just summed up in such a little, I'm too busy moping around. I don't want to be escaping. I'm too busy moping around. That's great. And then this part here. Oh, I love this part. Let's spend the future talking about the past, how you said goodbye, how I messed your mind up. I love that, especially this part. Let's spend the future talking about the past. Just holy crap. There is so much to unpack right there. And I feel like it's so true too. Like, I don't know. I just see myself all in this music. It seems like they're coming out with a Happier album, by the way, this year. So I'm really looking forward to that. Or in 2023. Even if it's not, I don't care. It's Daughter. I love it. I'm here for it. Let's see. There was one other part I wanted to talk about. What was it? Right here. Wake up, wake up, wake up. I'll be the answer to the question I can't answer. Right there. And I know I'm making it more meaning for myself because you can't spit it out. Can we find a way out. So I know the context of this is a little bit different, but this kind of, I already had that idea of what's the question that I should ask, but I don't know. That's kind of this. I'll be the answer to the question I can't answer. Freaking love it. This song is currently one of my favorite Daughter songs of all time. It is so good. Freaking fantastic. So I would have to add it. I'd have to put it way up here. It's so freaking good, man. That's a strong A tier song. I will say though, and what's interesting about this too is I've been listening to this song for a while. Well through last year and this year. So that's why it's not as high on the list too, but what you gonna do? Okay, so that was The End by Daughter. Right here. Okay. I believe this song popped off on TikTok or something because it's consistently up there in Spotify's top 1 or top 50. And it came out, I think, 10 years ago. 10 or 12 years ago, something like that. Another Love, Tom Odell. This is another song that's structured like Car Radio in the aspect of how it slowly builds up and then drops down. I love that song structure. It doesn't work for every song, absolutely, but it really just hits sometimes. And I call it the Car Radio song structure because that was the first song I was introduced to that built up like that. And Car Radio just does it in such like a genuine way. I saw an interview of is it Josh? Is Josh or is that the other guy? I forget. I think it's Josh. I saw an interview of him talking about writing the song, and I'm pretty sure that was just like a natural. The song just happened to build itself like that, and that's awesome. Anyway, this song is a bop. I saw it on Instagram one day, and I was like, "Holy crap, what's that song?" So I looked it up, and dude, it's freaking fantastic. He's basically saying, "I want to like cry with you, be with you, all this stuff with you, but I'm already so freaking drained out from another love that I'm not even available for you." And that's how I felt with Megan by a lot. I have a lot of issues that I will need to at some point address because my relationship with Megan created all these problems that I now have with relationships going forward. Not blaming her for stuff and whatever. I know I've had so many freaking issues, but it's just life. It is what it is. Got baggage from previous stuff, goes on into the future. It's life. So that song's really good. Number 3 that I have on here. Hot Girl, Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. This is for the movie Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. Charlie XCX. It's stupid. It's not super intelligent. She came out with an album that wasn't exactly what I think a lot of her fan base was hoping for. Her album before her most recent was really good, and her core fan base really liked it, but it didn't have a lot of mainstream appeal. So this one had more mainstream appeal, and or this album had a lot more mainstream appeal, but it was a little bit more trendy with like the 80s vibes that are popping off right now. So it just really wasn't for me. And then very shortly after that album came out, this song came out, which was just a return back to like, I'm just going to be stupid and go freaking hard. And that's not to say that the lyrics in here aren't good, because I think they are, but it's like, I'm a hot girl, pop girl, rich girl. I'm a bitch girl. It's just like it's a bop. I love it. It's freaking amazing. Anyway, Charlie XCX is the hyperpop queen. I hope you all know that. That's a strong A tier song. Number 4, Pink Party. What the frick? Why is Pink Party on this list? I already have Pink Party right there. All right, well, I'm deleting that. Number 5, Intimate Moments. Same album as Pink Party. This song's great. He's basically saying that he's a little bit afraid of intimate moments because he's worried, why am I feeling the way I am if you are here? That doesn't feel right. I should feel good. Why do I feel bad right now? So he's afraid of those moments. And I was like, interesting. That being said, I'm afraid of intimate moments for different reasons, because I also like intimate moments. So can't say it's the most relatable song in the world for me, but I really like the song. It's good. I'm gonna have to put it right here. It's like a really strong AB song. I like it a lot. I know I don't have a ton to say about it, not a lot of deep meaning to me, but really like the song. Number 6. This song was my number 2 last year. Only number 1 last year was I believe Poke by Frightened Rabbit, and that was the only song that beat out this one, or it was flipped. And this year Woke Up Hurting was number 80 on the list for me, so a lot of staying power for this song. Woke Up Hurting, good song. What's a little bit sad is the lead singer of this band, I believe he was like early 40s or late 30s, committed suicide, and that is how I heard of the band, because he died. And there's enough people have talked about it, but kind of the whole idea of when somebody dies, it's like, oh, they're like suicidal thoughts they were talking about in songs were actually true and meaningful. And it's like, well, you gotta give credit to people that are still around too. And it just creates this whole interesting idea too, because the biggest streaming day for almost all artists, especially when you look at things like hip hop, is the day they die, because a lot of them die young, unfortunately. Gotta be careful. Neon gravestones, a little bit, if you will. Anyway, Woke Up Hurting, Frightened Rabbit. It's a really good song. You know what? Let me talk about it a little bit differently than just talking about the death part, because I do think that's a problem, so I probably shouldn't focus on that as much. Woke Up Hurting. I think the title, I like the song, but I think the title does enough explaining for me to be able to get into this. A lot of the time, I'll wake up, and I've described this to my therapist as the worst part, at least for me, about being depressed isn't when I'm depressed. The worst part is having to climb that ladder back up to feeling good. And what I hate so much about that is I do that a lot. Right now, I would say every 3 days, 3 or 4 days, I have to climb that ladder again. And if I'm depressed, I kind of want to die. But when I climb that ladder, I really want to die, because I'm actively doing what I don't want to do, which is allowing myself to hurt more by having to force myself to try to feel better, force myself to eat when I don't want to, force myself to go to the gym when I don't want to, force myself to stay in bed when I'm not falling asleep. And it sucks, and it's not fun, and I want to avoid that pain. And what's the best way to avoid that pain? So the idea of Woke Up Hurting is cool, because it's like I'll go to bed, and some days I will just wake up, and it's like, oh my gosh, why did I put all that effort yesterday in going to bed early and eating well? Because I just woke up today, and I hurt, and this sucks. And now I gotta climb a ladder again to try to feel better. And today is really gonna be hard to get through. And it's just, it's not enjoyable. Something else I was talking to my actually, I wasn't talking to my therapist about this, but I I've, from a young age, always known that deep down, who I am, I want to be better. I want to feel better. I want to treat people better. And that, in of itself, is sometimes frustrating because when I wake up on those days that I'm hurting, I know I'm going to climb that ladder. I know no matter how much I don't want to at the moment, I know eventually I am going to force myself to eat. I am going to force myself to go to the gym. I am going to force myself to work. And that has its own level of depressing. Because I can't be one of those guys that's like listening to Juice WRLD saying, "Frick living, I'ma die in my feelings." It's like, no, that's not me. I am going to try to live. I do want to have a kid. So it's kind of canvaing just wallow in sadness because I know I got to get better and I know I'm going to do it. And it's just like, why am I doing this to myself? What's the point? Anyway. All that to say, this song's a bop, man. It's not a bop. That's not true. It's a good song. I'm putting it right there. You should listen to it. Woke Up Hurting. Next song on the list. What have we here? Zatoshi. I think Zatoshi is how you would say that. Zatoshi. Zatoshi might actually be right. This is from an album by Denzel Curry. Very consistent guy. Wildly talented. Always comes out with tracks that have a lot of effort into it. I'll admit, his sound is not always for me. This song is mixed. Slow Thigh, his lyrics cannot be understood unless you actively have the lyrics in front. You know what? Let me actually... Is it in this list? Yeah, it is. Number 73. I like the song. It sounds great, but listen to this. Listen here. Don't look at the lyrics. I'm gonna move them over here. All right. This is Denzel Curry right now. Okay, you can understand it. Let's see. Can you understand this? This next bar. This is by Denzel Curry. Okay, yeah, I can understand that. It's like I relatively can get what's happening. Now let's hear Slow Thigh's lyrics right here. It's like you can kind of get what's going on, but not really. Now let me show you the actual lyrics. Is that what you thought you heard earlier? Because I doubt it. It's like, it's a good song. I don't really know what this means, but I like it. It goes hard. It slaps. And by the way, just in general, just like Lonely Machine's 100 gecs verse in that, I like things that are mixed where I can't actually understand the lyrics. That sounds really good to me. So yeah, Satoshi feat Slow Thigh. That's a good freaking song. I like it. That's an A song. That's an A tier song. I'm a big fan. Let's move on to the next thing. What we got next? So that was that one right there. We got we got 3 more songs. Okay. The Drive, Everyone You Know, number 66. So I found this song last year. I'm pretty sure it was like number 4 or number 5 last year. It's a great song. Music video is very well shot. It's a rotating camera from inside of a car as these guys are driving away from the cops. So like this whole story takes place and you're watching these 4 or 5 guys sitting inside this car as this camera is rotating. It's a really, really well done music video, which I think was really smart because a good music video will enhance the song. And that's really what this does. The Drive, yeah, it's great. Great song. Everyone You Know, kind of the whole idea of that UK-based band is these are guys that would party when they were young. And now they're facing growing up. And them, just like everyone you know, are going through that struggle of you're not in your 20s. Or if you are, you're in your late 20s and you gotta grow up. But what the frick are you gonna do? This kind of sucks. And it's a little bit more mature. It's not like Youngblood or Machine Gun Kelly where they're writing lyrics that don't match their age. Yeah, the premise is you gotta grow up, but it's from the perspective of late 20s, early 30s. And I enjoy that, man. I enjoy that. That's freaking good. Anyway, I'm going to have to put it in high B. Last year, I probably would have put it in high A just because I've heard this song a lot. I've played this song a lot. I got to give myself a break from it. Good song, though. This next one is interesting. Bye Bye Blondie. Alan Rayman. Alan Rayman is an interesting character. He does not earn a ton of money. I would say he's probably one of those people that's like, he earns enough from music that's like he's getting by, but not really thriving. Like every show, you got to count your pennies a little bit. He's got a really interesting voice. It's got a lot of texture to it. And this album, Roadhouse 02, is... I hesitate to say it's futuristic, because it's definitely not like... It doesn't sound futuristic. It's... where for some people this would be some slight stretching and a little bit of an experimental sound. For Alan Rayman, he is so in his own zone that he will have an idea and perfect it for how it should sound to him, and with full confidence roll with that song. Almost in like a Kanye way, where it's like, are you making this up on the fly? Like, if you are making this up on the fly, you've put a lot of effort into making this up on the fly. And it sounds like you really freaking care about this. But it's not the same sound. It's singing with, I believe there's, one point of this album, there's a few choirs that he uses, which totally sounds like Kanye. Let me just play you a verse from this. Number 37 on here. That's like the sound that he usually uses. And then a couple songs on here are just like really interesting. One I've been listening to is, as you can tell, it's like, this is the only song I've really liked. But I keep on coming back to this album because it's really interesting. Main Room. I've been hitting this one. Rider also is interesting because it takes his typically he sings in his own voice, but he uses some auto-tune here, and I like how it sounds. He's just an interesting dude. I would definitely recommend checking him out. The song that for me, I was like, holy crap, this is so good, is Tennessee. This song's about, he's basically like, get the shotgun out. That boy's trying to steal your daughter. I'm not saying anything morally here, but it's a good, it's a good song. Also, James Vincent McMorrow is the guy that discovered this guy, and I shouldn't say that. From what I am aware, James Vincent McMorrow went on tour with Alan Rayman, and that kind of is what made people aware of who Alan Rayman was. But yeah, this guy, he's got this song right here, Wicked Game. Oh, Wicked Game is so good. Listen to his voice. This is what he does, right? He's a really soft singer. Here's one of his more recent songs I really like. So he sings like this, right? But what's interesting about this guy is he wanted to be like a hardcore metal guy. He worked for all these like really throaty bands, and then he like on a whim just did some other stuff, and it really freaking worked out. He's like, oh, okay, I guess I'll go down this road now. It's like that guy that Michael Bolton. It's like Michael Bolton, who's known for these more softer songs, but initially he wanted to do something a little bit more harder. I just find it very interesting. A lot of the time, I find the context around a song or an artist interesting, and it makes me like the song more. I'm putting it there. Last one on the list is not that cool. Mosh Pit by Cook Douglas. The music video isn't very good. I understand what they tried to do. If I was making the music video, I couldn't have made it as technically well. That being said, I feel like the motions were not done correctly, in my personal opinion. So at some point, I would love to remake this music video for these guys, because I think they could have done it a little differently, in my opinion, again. But Mosh Pit, it's a bop, goes hard. I've run to it a lot. That's basically all I got to say about it. That's it. Anyway, this has been, what, like an hour or something? I don't know where it says that. Hour and 5 minutes. All right, let's go. I hope you've enjoyed this list. Let me know if you have one similar. And yeah, I really got a freaking pee, probably because I have been here for an hour and this is very liquidy. Although I've only eaten it like 4 or 5 times. Have a great rest of your day, gentlemen. I hope to talk to you soon. Bye! How do I stop this recording? Oh, this button.